There is an old saying from the subcontinent: when God gives, it splits the roof. The law of fraternity, the state of Georgia, they made my life a living hell. They have broken any and every rule and law and defecated on their codes of ethics, abused their powers of office, committed numerous felonies, and not one entity has been held accountable. So, now that the seams are ripping, the members of state bars of the United States of America, they cannot keep their pants up. I think everybody is following the case of President Trump in the state of Georgia, in Fulton County, and the district attorney, Fani Willis, and her beau, Nathan Wade, who is the prosecutor, and the scandal encompassing the case. The co-chief, assistant chief, DA, whatever, from the DA's office, Lee Yeager, I believe that's her name, has come forward that she is willing to testify. I hope it's a she, because I'm getting my pronouns and nouns and God knows what else wrong. I'm very confused. When you come to the South, the first thing that will hit you eventually is confusion, stupidity, your brain being in a constant daze. So anywho, papers have been filed that Nathan Wade's attorney, who represented him in his divorce proceedings, he lied under oath. Well, the same has been said of Nathan Wade, and the very same for Fani Willis. So now the good thing is, these are all attorneys. They have been put in the pot. And when you look carefully, somebody's lying. The mythical unicorn is a myth. Look at the turds coming into the pot, and the pot is stirring. Like I said before, Supreme Court, historically, and if you have a single gray cell, will acknowledge, has failed to support the US Constitution repeatedly. The rights granted in 1787 were still being abused in the 20th century. So where the hell was the US Supreme Court? Probably still looking for absolution. Or they are the kings, they were the kings. And when it comes down to individual statements, I will show you each and every entity, including the US Supreme Court, contradicting its own orders when it applies to them. They apply absolution. Is this a banana republic or just a garden full of bananas? Bend over. Banana. That's all they do. So I'm trying to simplify matters as much as I can, because as Richard Belcher et al., all his friends and colleagues, and people from WSB and other journalists stated, I have no idea how stupid the public is. So, Mr. Madam Public, please tell me how stupid you are. Stop abusing me. Okay? You ain't gonna get nowhere. Dumb shit is dumb shit. Eventually, it gets flushed down the toilet. I have fought many a battles for truth. This is just another one. And unlike the spineless worms that occupy our gubernatorial offices, such as Brian Kemp, I have plenty of backbone, I can assure you. All you got to do is come face to face with me. That's all. Even better, put a TV camera in front of me. Sue me. Take me to court. Just cut the shit out. That's all you're good at? So, one name I cannot get out of my head. I feel the need to stand up and salute him. Without prejudice, without color, without creed, without ethnicity, without faith, without religion. Never knew him, just heard his name on the news, then I followed. A serving member of the United States Air Force, deceased. Aaron Bushnell. Aaron Bushnell, a serving Air Force officer, stood outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. and put himself on fire. He knew exactly what he was doing. They tried to report that he had mental health issues. Far from it. Mr. Bushnell was lucid. He was human. He was thinking, he was feeling. And he forgot that the most painful of experiences being burnt. He didn't care. He went with his principles. He had a statement to make. And boy, did he make it. That's one name amongst a few I will remember, I will cherish, and I will stand up and salute till the day I die. May you rest in peace. And if I could, and it were to happen, I'll gladly give you my life. It's for yours to take. A damning statement, if there were to be made. Aaron Bushnell made it. Free Palestine. I've been fighting for my freedom all my life. I've been fighting for human rights all my life. I'm still fighting so I can breathe. But this so-called US justice system, it has its knee so firmly across my neck. Sometimes I have trouble breathing. I'm still here. So let's get back to the damning statement. In the company of 3 chief judges, 3 chief justices, as you prefer to call them, from UK, Australia and Ireland. Madam Justice Catherine McGuinness, Baroness Hale of Richmond, and Justice Kirby. They occupied the highest courts in their country, and they concurred that US neither has a lawful legal system nor does it practice law. We do not know what it is that it practices in the name of law. Well, that was the spirit of the said statements by Justices McGuinness, Hale, and Kirby circa 2007, 2010, in the process of and the duration of the 3rd program of law reform in Ireland. The reason for setting up this podcast is to present the case and its facts with damning evidence to prove the above stated theory. And also the allegation that racketeering since 2014, in my case, racketeering, the state and its bodies and its entities colluded to deny me my rightful remedy in law repeatedly. So, US executive is involved in racketeering to the detriment of the public and its interests. Judiciary is inherently rogue, corrupt, and dysfunctional without fear of accountability. Checks and balances. Repeated abuse and neglect of oath of office is becoming evident among the judiciary, and forever the elected. Senator Menendez is just one of them. Supreme Court is governed by none, so says Samuel Alito, contrary to the court order made by the US Supreme Court in 2015, whereby it states any entity, any government entity, state entity that does not enjoy supervision does not enjoy sovereign immunity. And in itself, it has neither a code of ethics nor an entity of supervision. An act which makes the US Supreme Court open to lawsuits by the very precedent it set in 2015 in a ruling removing sovereign immunity from all and sundry on a state's payroll who did not have active supervision. So said Alito and his colleagues. They're signatories to it. It's a US Supreme Court order. When I pled for its application, they denied me certiorari. How does that sound? How does that make sense? I'm sure the media can gather some, the usual bulldogs will come out barking, make no sense, self-important, seldom makes sense, and disappear, while the same turds flow in the same stream that we expect the clean water to flow through. Anyway, as they do in the South to cover their ass, in haste, the state of Georgia passed law appointing the governor as the supervisor to retain its right to sovereign immunity. The year 2015 and signed into law by Governor Nathan Deal in 2016. The very person and the very office from where emanated all the criminal proceedings, where each and every member of the judiciary that I was faced with, they forgot decency, they forgot their oath of office. Not only that, they forgot the application of law. All they hurled at me is abuse, in writing and in person. You can see the latest episode that was in Macon, Judge Monroe. The transcript is there. The man started barking at me from the time I stepped through the door. The word respect was nowhere to be seen or heard. I shall come to each and every individual that I came across, and I will provide proof and a narrative. Right now, in general, I am stating the facts of my case. So please bear with me. This is just one example. Not the only case. There are millions. It's on record. Millions of unlawful rulings have been made in the US of A. Over 1,600 judges were found corrupt by an investigation conducted by Reuters news agency. It's there in print, the whole report. Read it. I'm merely going to go through this. I don't have much life left. I need to do something. Somebody needs to do something, and collectively, somebody with an element of decency needs to stand up and be counted amongst the legislature, judiciary, or among the executive, because shame on you, you're all covered in filth. Just in case you haven't noticed, listen to all the podcasts and read what is available. on griftersnet.com. These are all legal documents to support my argument, to support my narrative. The US Supreme Court may be part of the government and does not require sovereign immunity, but the principles of law remain the same for it to be held lawful. Accountability, checks and balances, provision of equity and remedy in law. Jurisprudence deems provision of plentiful light of vision, wisdom, higher sense of morality, and guidance as a must for those who think they are immortals and accountable to no one. They are nothing but a valuable pile of garbage. As you have heard, you may hear, and you will see evidence in practice. The element acts with due haste to cover its own ass, but never in the interest of the populace. Read your history. U.S. Constitution has been trumpeted as the savior of the citizen since 1787, but libraries of law are full of abuses of individuals and masses, especially in matters of civil rights. The very rights the Constitution was written to uphold. As a priest, as a man on the pulpit, you preach. Why the hell don't you practice what you're preaching? Ask the children that went through their hands. Same applies to the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, all and sundry in the US of A. European Court of Human Rights has already ruled against all US extradition requests and declared it a legal system not fit for human consumption. I think it's getting a bit too heavy, so let me just lighten the mood. Yeah, it's a personal story. You may enjoy it, you may not. But I learned a lot of lessons from it, and you may learn something about who I am. I still distinctly remember age 11 and something. At a competitive exam, my dad, God rest his soul, was called into by the board. They had something to say to him. I had no clue. He was a proud Air Force officer. In later years, I was told that they told him I had an IQ of 157. I was highly intelligent, and he should give me space to breathe. Years later, I was told that means nothing to me. 157, my ass. Who cares? But September 1977, Southall College of Technology, London was the venue. I had arrived in London on a triple scholarship. I needed to get away from Pakistan. I was, 18? Induction was to take place for the class of Ordinary National Diploma in Technology. Mr. Smith was holding a lecture for all incoming students, home and abroad. Greenish brown sports jacket, beige corduroy trousers, cream shirt, dark brown tie, and brown shoes. I believe socks were light brown, as was his hair, and clean shaven. It doesn't get much more English than that, does it? Some things the mind records for all posterity. Why, I will be damned if I knew. I have a library full of them inside my head. Life in my mom's womb is excluded. I have no recollection. Well, maybe because I had never tried for a recall. 105 students were present. Even before good morning was said, he faced me and said, "I believe you're in the wrong class. This is for home students." I had absolutely no idea what he meant. I had arrived from Pakistan on a triple scholarship to Great Britain, United Kingdom, whatever you want to call it, seat of the great British Empire, and now I faced a dilemma. I was not a home student. What the hell does that mean? I had no clue. Being a bloody Paki and a foreigner, well, that's what we were called. I learned the meaning of these terms very quickly. I've always been a very quick learner, or so I'm told. New Oxford Dictionary was my source of learning English since age 5 because my parents thought I would do better in an English medium school, taught by nuns. Did not know a single word of English, nobody taught me. So I started reading the pocketbook, Oxford Dictionary. And it stayed with me till I left Pakistan age 19. The darn thing did not mention the word Paki or home students. Fellow students came to my assistance. Thereafter, when Mr. Smith proceeded to declare, not to worry, on Monday, tests will take place and all students will be allocated classes, A, B, and C. And for you, there is the other class for foreign students and people with poor English. There was a young man, still remember his name, D.L. Singh, a fellow student. He sidled up to me and whispered, "Man, this is racism. You must report him." I was ready to pee in my pants. I could feel a drop or two. What did he want me to do? Flood my pants? I applied great restraint. I have lots of that. I learned that at an early age. Hold back. Think. Think deep. I do. Anyway, what the hell is this racism? I did not have a clue, but I was going to learn it the hard way, and to date, the education continues. Oh, I learned it quicker than anyone else, or shall I say, I had no choice in the matter. News had traveled that I was clueless about most things British, especially selective white supremacy. Pro Renata. Come Monday, Mr. Turk, that is Barry, to all significant others, my course tutor, walked up to me and asked if I had a matter for complaint. "No, sir," I replied. I had no clue what the hell he was talking about. He looked puzzled, but carried a look of rage and anguish at the same time. Some students had approached him on my behalf. With hesitance and reluctance, I had to rattle the entire episode. Mr. Turk, Barry, was a mild-mannered Englishman, probably 120 pounds at best and 5'6", but he appeared enraged and scary at that given moment. "Follow me," he said. "We are going to the dean's office." Shoot, what and who is the dean? What does it mean? I had no clue. Now I was ready for the runs, literally in my pants again and down the corridor. "Knock, knock." "Enter," said an authoritative voice, and we did. We did what we were told to do. It was a grand office Dr. Swan had occupied. Very impressive. I clenched my thighs and resisted the urge to pee. There and then. I was way out of my league. Matter on hand was discussed. We were to wait till Monday, and then I screwed up again. I came first in the class. First out of 105 home and foreign students. There I stuck out like a sore thumb, like I had done all my life and all my schooling, like all my previous years of life, till Deal saw me and screamed, "There is the man!" A crowd of students rushed and carried me the length of the corridor, especially outside Mr. Smith's lecture hall. I tried making eye contact, while he admired the toe of my shoes and meekly acknowledged, "Good morning, sir." This was a new beginning of all my troubles. Teachers becoming nervous and agitated by the questions a meek, shy, packy foreigner would ask to enhance his education. The white folk then and even now mostly showed little acceptance of challenging questions from a foreigner, especially a packy. Then I was a shy teenager, uncomfortable in my skin and short on confidence. Today, as a 64-year-old, I narrate these sad facts, which US Constitution stipulated, for no hurt be caused to a citizen's well-being and their rights.